Hahhries.
Trump is he's coming out with some plans. This is the time where you can say elections have consequences. Yeah, based.
True.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is what's going to happen, right? But here we go. Let's take a look at it.
As part of my plan to secure the border on day one of my new term in office, I will sign an executive order making clear to federal agencies that under the correct interpretation of the law, going forward, the future children of illegal aliens will not receive automatic U.S. citizenship. It's things like this that bring millions of people to our country, and they enter our country illegally. As part of my plan to secure...
you have this one, and it goes even farther.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
I want you guys to know that we basically quarterly send $100 billion to Zelensky and Ukraine. Just a quick reminder.
Of course there's.
$100 billion.
Families can be deported together.
True.
We are in for a wild ride. Yeah, he's not wrong. Yeah, no, he's not wrong. Wow. Send him home? Yeah, content for days? No, this is going to be a crazy fucking 4 years, man. There's another one.
News, the mayor just announced that the city will no longer issue vouchers to migrants to pay for food, ending a controversial program that had repeatedly come under attack by conservatives and others.
This pilot program in New York City, drenched in both humanity and controversy, distributed debit cards to migrant families staying in city-funded hotels and allowing them to buy their own food. Eyewitness News reporter Josh Einiger following the breaking news for us. Josh?
Well, Bill, it's a program that, as you say, generated plenty of controversy, but now its absence may raise even more questions.
It's my dog.
The so-called Immediate Response Cards pilot program was designed to help feed migrant families who'd found themselves in New York with no way to afford food. The one-year contract provided what the city described as culturally relevant food to 2,600 migrant families, allowing them to basically buy what they wanted.
Yep.
A family of four with two kids under 5 got about $350 per week to cover food in a program the city said would actually save taxpayers millions a year. It also reduced food waste. You may remember the food the city had been providing in migrant shelters was seen as not culturally sensitive to the needs of some migrant groups, and it ended up just going to waste. For more than a year, the city was groaning under the weight of more than 200,000 asylum seekers. Officials say the migrant reduced lately. In fact, a massive shelter on Roosevelt Island is in the process of closing. In the meantime, Mayor Adams
Did it say $350 a week? My mom used to get $200 a month on food stamps. Obviously, this was the year 2011 or 12.
That's so crazy.
A bit different prices then, but that was what we used to get.
On the phone yesterday with President-elect
I got like
Donald
160.
Trump, who had vowed during his campaign to mass deport migrants. Aside from congratulating him on his win, though, Adams today would not say what they discussed.
Yep, there it is. And so you're seeing, obviously, this is getting shut down. And, man.
Here's my plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all. And corruption it is.
And the thing is that I think that a lot of conservatives don't really want to say, and this is what's happening, right, is that this is kind of the entire, like, understanding of what an Overton window is that it's like the idea of, like, things that are acceptable to be stated in public and not be immediately, like, repudiated for. The idea that somebody can say that, how do you deal with...
Of course there's. Families can be deported together.
This would be probably unthinkable to say 10 years ago. And now, oh boy. People are fed up.
Well, the situation isn't the same as 10 years ago. I mean, Asmongold, you should know that immigration has absolutely, like, risen to, like, new heights this year. They let in 10 million illegal immigrants. We literally have confirmation that 13,000 of which are from a fucking maximum security prison in Venezuela. Like, this is insane. This isn't the same situation as 10 years ago. So, of course, people are more, I don't want to say extreme because that's not really the right word, but people are more focused on this issue, and it has to be dealt with. This is an issue you can't keep ignoring. This isn't a politically correct issue. Oh, let's be politically correct about this. No. And the people who suffered are the ones in New York, which is why a shit ton of New Yorkers voted for Trump. If they get a couple of more of those people to turn, it will become it might become red, which is crazy. But a lot of New Yorkers are getting attacked. It's terrible. And they're taking all of our tax money and using it on that problem. So it's like, do I spend $80 billion to send them back home? Or do I spend an infinite amount of money collecting people so that they can vote for the Democratic Party in the future?
Yeah, people are fed up. And I think that the optics of saying that is probably not very great. It doesn't sound like a good thing to say. But once enough people start saying it, then everybody starts saying it. Because that's what people really believe. Now, I didn't believe that? Okay. All right. Just racists say that? You are not going to get people... Like, that doesn't work anymore.
Nerfed.
That doesn't work when you say that racists are saying it, and then you have record numbers of minorities that are voting for it. Just doesn't work.
I'm racist, guy. Oh, because I want to, like, not get attacked on the train. I don't want my family to be attacked. Yeah, racist. Get the fuck out of here. That shit don't work, bro. None of these words, you guys casted all of your alts at the same time. You have used fascist. You have used the Hitler. You've used dictator. You guys use racist. You guys use sexist. You guys use white supremacist. You used all of these words at once for the last like 8 to 10 years. It doesn't mean anything anymore. It really doesn't. When I hear someone call someone else out, that just means, oh, I disagree with them. You guys took any value that those words had and completely fucking destroyed it. No value whatsoever in those words. No value.
I understand. It's like, this is, and it's been very effective, to be fair. Okay, and yeah, and also, like, yeah, people don't really give a shit. So, yeah, it just doesn't work. The strat was nerfed? Yeah, I'm sorry to say.
First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively.
We are in for 4 years.
The best 4 years of our lives.
Some of the best content that I think we've seen in a long time. You guys have to understand that back when Trump was originally the president, there were like a lot of checks and balances that he had. And now all those checks and balances, they're all on his side. He's going to kill us all, smiley face.
Stupid.
Oh, see what's going to happen. People literally die, free content. I think that, well, yeah, I mean, for sure.
Who's dying?
Right? I mean, like,
from this?
Of course, like and by the way, every news station thinks this. I understand that there's like news stations that try to make themselves out like, oh yeah, we don't care about this. News stations love plane crashes. They love, like, mass shootings. Of course. Yeah, that's how they make their money.
Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe. Even
I do think that, like, them going after Trump and trying to prosecute him for all these crimes, I think that when I said it back then, I said that it was a huge mistake.
Yep.
Because all it does is it paints him out as a martyr, and it's kind of like the what's the quote? If you come at the king, you better not miss. They missed too many fucking times.
A lot.
And now he's going to do the same thing. And the thing is that, like, there's no more.
It's not the same thing because he had the chance to arrest Hillary. Hillary Clinton could be in prison right now. Like, let's make this very fucking clear. And this is something I think Asmongold misses out on. He doesn't really look into any of the legal stuff. I've heard him speak about this stuff. He has no fucking idea what he's talking about. Hillary Clinton could be in fucking prison, and Trump decided the best thing to do was to not move forward with that, despite what he said when he was getting elected. So he's already shown no mercy. This is something that's happened. They were corrupt as fuck the first time, and he let it go. And now he's had I hear it might be 3 today. 3 assassination attempts on his life. Like, this is serious. This isn't a fucking joke anymore. They have 3 assassination attempts on his life, and then they attacked his livelihood. It's crazy. Like, this is something you can't keep letting slide. It's not bad to go after people who are willing to do this.
Moral authority to say, oh, this isn't what's going to happen. Yeah, it's revenge. And also, like, I do think that
it is absolutely justice.
Again, people,
if they could do this to him, who in the fucking street can't they do this to? Who? If they can do this to a former president, someone actively running with the spotlight on him, if they can do all this shit to him, who the fuck on planet Earth can they not do this to? Who? That's why I don't understand. Like, oh, this is revenge. No, this is fucking justice. At least in the eyes of everyone watching this. How could he be wrong? You think if there's no option where the correct thing to do is ignore it, what you're doing is fucking justice. There is no fucking universe where it's okay for him to know there are people this fucking corrupt in our system, in our government, and to do nothing. That is what created this problem. So this whole idea is just revenge. It's revenge. No, you fucking morons. And this isn't to the words just Asmongold. It's everyone who keeps saying this. You fucking morons. If the DOJ is corrupt enough to let a fucking political party target them at a man for crimes he didn't commit or are fucking past the statute of limitations, the crimes he was getting convicted of, Asmongold, I'm sure is gonna bring up more of this. So I'm gonna get into what he was actually they were trying to convict him of, which they've dropped basically all the cases now. When we get to that part, you'll understand why these people need to go either to jail or be fired. These are not people who can keep running the country, because I don't feel safe. If I'm ever arrested, I feel like I'm fucked now. And it's not because of my race, clearly. If they are this powerful, like, I don't understand this thing. It's just revenge. No, this is fucking justice. This is fucking justice. We'll get to the cases and shit they brought against him and the hypocrisy, but this is fucking justice. The things these people have been saying and doing have literally led to this man almost losing his life twice. Say whatever the fuck you want about how Trump talks. Not one fucking person has made it within fucking shooting range of Kamawluh Hahhries with a damn gun. No one shot at her. And this happened to him twice within the span of 3 fucking months. Like, are you guys crazy? And I have to check today. I saw reports coming on my phone. I didn't check, but it might be a third one today. And this is their fucking fault. So this whole, oh, it's revenge. No, this is fucking justice. And I'm sick of seeing this shit happen.
Say this.
It's a really annoying talking point he's taking here.
There is a massive contingency of Trump voters and Trump supporters that feel like they've been marginalized from, like, not only, like, economically, but society-wide, where, like, you're not supposed to say that you like Trump, you're not supposed to say that, you think this or that other thing, and these people have been oppressed in their mind, whether you believe this to be true or not. Like, again, I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for saying oppressed. This, okay? But we love that, don't we?
Well, this specific issue isn't about us.
Do you remember when I said that I can very well
specifically
easily understand why young guys in, like, the Middle East joined ISIS? I can easily understand that. Even though I don't agree with them, even though I think they might be wrong, I can see, okay, if this is the way that you live, these are your material conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see
I
can see how you go from point A to point B. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
He's absolutely right here with the whole ISIS thing. It's like with Carl Jung in The Shadow, that whole thing. I think Jordan Peterson put it the best way I understood. You have to understand that if you were in Nazi Germany, you probably would have been one. It's like understanding that you have some of the worst aspects in you as well. And if you ignore those, they overcome you like they've done for most of the Democrat Party right now with their loss, and they're fucking acting out like children. That's a really good sign of it, like where they literally can't control themselves. You have to recognize your shadow. Like none of you are so morally superior that you can't be like any of these people. It's circumstance and also what you learn and how you're able to interpret that. Absolutely.
So when I'm discussing this, in a lot of cases, I'm not even really talking about whether I think it's a good idea or not. I'm saying that if enough people believe in something like this, it becomes real. And it's real to them. And if something is real to them, then for all intents and purposes, they're going to act like it's real. And nobody has a monopoly on reality. So these people can invent their own reality and act on it, and you can't really stop them.
You can fight reality all you want. I mean, at the end of the day, we are currently in the best civilization in human history, so we got it right. The majority has gotten it right more than they've gotten it wrong. Even if it may not seem like that, we've managed to make it here from being fucking cavemen. So this idea that like, well, you know, it's really not. So the way natural selection works now is that your fucking country, your civilization survives if you make enough of the right choices. And here is absolutely a right choice. The vast majority of Americans have seen this. We have a larger population today of like civilizations than we ever had in history. There's a lot more intelligent people than what was back then. And we have progressed towards greatness every single time. This is why I've never been a doomer. I never thought our country was genuinely fucked. I know that the right thing is going to happen eventually. It might take longer than people want. But the fact is, our species has made great strides every fucking century and like towards the direction of greatness, whether people want to be doomers or not. So
you see kind of what I'm saying?
Clearly they've been making the right choice.
No, it is.
We're here.
People get oppressed, and the oppression, the perceived oppression, radicalizes them. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Most people that do things that are really bad do them as a result of a perception of oppression. Now, sometimes the perception is accurate. Sometimes it's not. But the one thing that's almost always there is that there is a perception.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Impossible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong.
I wonder what one of those applications for one of those people could have been. I wonder who that's going to be.
Yeah. Maybe the person who falsely said he had a connection to Russia, or one, not him, but one of the people who work under him had connection to Russia, when in reality, Russia approached him and he immediately went to the CIA. The CIA told this agent that approached them asking about it that, yeah, they made contact with him and he immediately told us. But when they made this report, what they did was, yeah, he made connection. The CIA confirmed it. You can't fucking do that. You can't. You can't do that. Like, he obviously left out information to make it seem like Trump was involved and that person was involved with this shit. The person who did that got fired, I believe.
Video's eye contact feature? Remind me about that later. I'll look at it.
Nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to
I hear the Halo music playing in my mind. I do. You guys have to understand that there is a probability that Barron Trump came up with this name because
our country apart. We will establish a
No,
Truth and
people go back play Halo.
Reconciliation
Absolutely.
Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption. And there are plenty of them.
I think that's good. I feel like a lot of people need to understand, like, when the government, and this isn't really anything that's new. I think that the government has exercised this power for a really long time, and I think it's created a massive sense of distrust with the government.
Oh, for sure.
Huge distrust.
For sure.
Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy.
This is one that I completely disagree with. And I really hope that people talk to him and tell him not to do this.
He got falsely accused of colluding with Russia for 3 fucking years, dude. 3 fucking years. Like, this may not be a big deal to you guys, but I don't think you understand the implication of what that would mean for the US. Like, you're saying that our government, our fucking president is compromised by a foreign enemy, sometimes nation. Like, that can't be allowed to happen again. The news networks need to be fucking regulated. I don't care what anyone says. They need to be able to be sued significantly easier than they are now. They need a fire lit under their ass. And to be honest, there's so many independent ones now that losing fucking CNN isn't going to be the end of democracy. I fucking promise you that. But they shouldn't even be able to do that. They shouldn't be able to lie for 3 years with zero repercussions. They said a sitting president was colluding with Russia with no fucking evidence. And these insider leakers were fucking lying. So I want you guys to remember that as he says this. I'm just saying.
Because you need whistleblowers. Because the reason why we know a lot of these bad things happened are because of those whistleblowers. Like Snowden, like Julian Assange. Like, it's a slippery
it's good
slope.
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I really disagree with this, and I hope that he doesn't do this. This is really
But you have to crack down on whistleblowers eventually. I mean, this shit puts our country at risk sometimes, too. You fail to remember about all of the agents who are actively out there that Snowden leaked. Like, there are other things that happens when leakers leak shit. It puts other people's lives at risk, too, sometimes. And like with Trump, sometimes they leak bullshit and there's no repercussions for the people who run with this for 3 fucking years. And some still say it to this day.
really bad.
When
Threat
possible,
to democracy,
we will
right
press
there.
Criminal charges.
Mm-hmm.
Sixth, we will make every inspector general's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee,
Colorado,
so
right?
they do not become
Utah,
the
something like that.
protectors of the deep state. Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying
good.
on our citizens.
That's his background music, by the way. It's not like I'm playing like Skyrim or like Halo background music. No, he's doing that for himself.
Or running disinformation campaigns
Yeah.
against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign.
Right.
Eighth, we will continue the effort launched
Does Asmongold not agree that should not happen? Like, I don't understand that. Well,
by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado,
this is Colorado.
as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America. And
Oh,
they
boy.
really do love America. Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they
That's good.
That is a huge fucking W. Oh my God. Wow. Yep.
deal with these companies and they regulate these companies and then they want to take jobs from these companies.
Yep.
It doesn't work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma. Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment to oppose term limits on members of Congress. This is how I will shatter the
huge.
deep state and restore government that is controlled by the people and for the people. Thank you very much.
There it is. And so this was made, like, he recorded these kind of a while ago, but I think now that he's like, now that he won, everybody is like looking back on it and they're like, oh shit, like all of these are going to happen. And do you agree? With some things, yeah, he's going to get assassinated. if they assassinate Trump, then
like, they
JD
better not.
Vance is just going to do the same thing. And
Yeah,
also,
he
like,
is.
guess what happens when they assassinate him? Then everybody is going to go and be like, oh my God, now they're actually trying to kill us, and they're going to be way more militant than they've ever been. The worst thing that can happen is for him to get assassinated, because it turns him into a martyr. And I think that's the same thing that like all those trials did too. Yeah, they tried twice. That helped him win. Yeah, I think so too. Trump said he could use active military for mass deportations. Yeah, of course he's going to do that. I think that, again, this is the problem that a lot of people have, is that I don't think that they want to come to the terms that, like, that's what people voted for.
Yep.
I think that there's a huge contingency of people that's what their goal is. They want that. I saw another one, use military to repel an invasion. This is an invasion. Yeah, I mean, there it is. The people saying good don't understand the slippery slope. I think that it can be very problematic too. I think that you're totally right. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Because if there's enough people that support it, then it happens.
Just to go back to Susie for a second, the fact that he got to this...
I think people forget military are also, like, kind of citizens of this country, or as somebody who was in the military myself, I can promise you I still had a brain and a conscience. We're not gonna go out and start executing our families. Like, what? It's a slippery slope, guys. We can just say no if it gets that insane. Like, we're not gonna go out ending the lives of, like, innocent people. Like, this isn't a fucking movie, and this isn't some, like, hardcore fucking regime where our families are propped up and, like, protected. Like, that's not how this works. We are all, like, we're like middle class, lower class people in the military. So I don't see that happening. Our systems are just too, like, structured, and people still have a conscience. Like, not toy soldiers. You just
going to have, influence over how the rest of this transition unfolds, whether it's picking attorney general or any of these other high-level positions. I think we ought to all look at this as a wise decision, a good decision, and for everybody out there wanting Trump to pivot or change or somehow whatever you want him to do, he just won a mandate from the American people to execute on the program that he laid out in this election. It wasn't particularly close. And I think he ought to put people in place who are going to do it. That's what the people
will go
are
after
asking
his
for.
enemies. I mean, that's
yeah.
That's not what he ran on.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
See, he can't say this. But
I'll make something very clear. For most of his policies is why I voted for Trump. Like, that's why most people voted for him. It's definitely, economy was the number one reason people voted for Trump.
I think that if you go,
I doubt there's, like, people who vote, like, they are a threat to democracy, 100%. The people she's talking about are a threat to democracy. I think that's a very solid reason to vote against people as well, when they are actively using the justice system to go after someone who's innocent. Like, that's just crazy.
And you interview a bunch of Trump voters, I think that they absolutely want Trump to weaponize the government to attack the people that attacked him.
He should, though. He should. It's scary.
I think that's exactly what they want him to do. Because that's what people wanted to do to Trump.
Yeah, and that means anyone they can do that to.
And so, like, and you can't say this because it sounds bad to say. I think that's what's going to happen.
It is explicitly what
That's not what he ran on.
Look at what he said in the past week. He literally said that he was going to exact vengeance.
You still don't understand how you lost. He ran on immigration.
Don't say me. I'm not a Democrat.
He ran on immigration.
Bitch, you a fucking Democrat. Shut the fuck up. I'm on CNN. Oh, he's gonna attack his enemies who are hardcore Democrats and completely bypass the legal system and put them away. But I'm not a Democrat. Shut the fuck up. You're a Democrat. You're not a Republican.
You know, like
I'm
I think that's what
independent.
people want,
okay.
catharsis.
You voted for Kamawluh.
People want revenge, and I think that people see Trump getting convicted of like 34 felonies.
It's not revenge. You guys keep saying, he keeps saying revenge. Asmongold, I'm going to explain something very fucking clear to you. This isn't revenge. They didn't do this to everybody in the fucking country. They didn't do this to the millions of people. The overwhelming majority voted for Donald Trump. He had a landslide victory. Republicans had a landslide victory across the board. They won everything. This isn't revenge. This is about morality. This is about justice. He keeps saying revenge. It's like, do you know what that word means? This isn't revenge. Most of the people who mattered in this vote were not Trump supporters from the outset. That's not how this works. The way he won, a lot of people switched over. This isn't revenge. You could try to make the argument for like, oh, people love Trump and they did this to Trump, so now they want revenge. Okay, you can make that argument, but the reason he won is not for revenge. That makes no logical sense because those people didn't support Trump. They're not hardcore Trumpers, so it's not revenge. They're voting because they think something is right and something is wrong. That is justice. That is not revenge. Revenge, a lot of what revenge is intent. It's almost 100% intent. That's how you distinguish between the two and also how you go about it. People aren't out here trying to shoot Kamala. That's what happened to him. That's not justice. That's revenge. But you're talking about using the legal system to get out corrupt people. That is absolutely fucking justice. That is what our legal system is for. And this rhetoric he spits on this, it just like, it's so frustrating because he doesn't even know what Trump was being attacked with, which I'll get to in a second.
And they
because
think
it was
that
just
it's
bullshit charges.
And so they're like, okay, everybody's conspiring against this guy. Well, let's get together and we're going to do the same thing back to them.
It's not the same thing.
I think that's what happens. And so, instant regret on her part? Yeah, there you go. He was kind once, he got backstabbed.
It does look like Pokemon. I saw that.
Revenge this time. Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Not revenge, retaliation. Yeah, and I think that the problem is that like it's still not really acceptable for people to like say that. But I actually do think it's a huge reason why a lot of people voted for him.
It's not. It's not retaliation. Again, he's not thinking, most of these voters were not Trump supporters, right? They're not hardcore for Trump. We're talking about a demographic of people who swayed from Democrats. So, like, what is the like, that's not a reason to vote. Because they're prosecuting Trump is not a reason to vote, just logically. They didn't flip all of the other Democrats. Like, it's obviously something else. If they believed what he was doing was wrong, they wouldn't have switched. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's other policies. And to make it seem like he won because of this is so disingenuous and honestly disgusting when this man almost died because of these people. These people made his life a living hell. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. If Republicans were in power and did this to Kamala, I would feel as strongly as I do now. That is disgusting. That is fucking horrible for a person who's running. I don't care what you think about his policies. In his head, at least, I truly believe he thinks he's doing the right thing. Say what you want about Trump. He says what he believes. And I believe he genuinely believes he's doing the right thing. And that's how you treat a fucking American? Really? Someone with rights? And again, he's in a position much higher than anybody else in the population, especially now. So if they can fucking do that to him, what does that say about us? I think you can say people did this out of fear if they voted for him for this reason. They did this out of a desire for justice. Retaliation's kind of like, whatever, I guess, but not really. Same with revenge. That makes no sense. The turning vote. The people who Trump supporters were voting for him either way. So that's not the reason they're voting for him. This isn't the reason I'm voting for Trump. People who are switching over are not voting for him for this reason. Because if they thought he was wrong, they would believe that he belonged in prison. It is for justice. They don't have any allegiance to Trump. It's revenge is the wrong word. It's really just like
they
so disgusting.
explicitly want him to do that. Can't wait till the poor people in the Midwest suffer from tariffs. It's real catharsism. Reap what you sow. I mean, again, all I'm saying is I think that's what's happening. Isn't that super fucked
Okay, here about the tariffs. You guys are, when people try to do these calculations on the tariffs and the increase, one, they don't consider how much the tariffs are going to be. They don't consider that most of our food comes from inland, so grocery prices are going to go down. They don't consider the fact that income tax is supposed to be taken away with this deal at some point, meaning that you're going to have more money in your pocket either fucking way. So even if prices do rise a little bit, you'll have more overall income. They always ignore that income tax part. So their calculations always end up turning out to be fucking stupid. They don't consider the fact that tariffs are high enough, companies are going to move to the US, opening up jobs, and then the price of products is either going to stabilize or go down. People don't calculate any of that into what they say. They just, oh, prices are going to go up for X amount of time. It's like, no, probably not. That's not how that works. Think about the whole thing.
People used to bring their families to watch lynchings. That doesn't matter. Like, people are more than willing to do something that's horrible if they think that they're doing it for the right reason. Like, this is nothing compared to that.
He ran on inflation.
I'm not here paying.
You have no statistics to prove that was horrible, by the way.
He ran on the issues that people care about. He ran on the economy. He ran on
Nobody's saying that he didn't run on those things, but he also
He
ran
definitely-
on vengeance.
Yes.
He did also
No.
run on going after the people
Justice.
who went after him.
And journalists.
It was a key feature of all of his
Yes.
Scott, he said, literally said, I am your retribution, the Biden crime family, lock her up. Went after Sessions repeatedly for not doing what he wanted Sessions to do.
Are you fucking dumb? Not Asmongold, obviously, but her. The Biden crime family? You mean Hunter Biden, who's in fucking prison right now? I wonder why you should go after this fucking criminal family. This dude's in prison under a Democratic fucking administration. If you think the rest of the Biden family just magically didn't know, you're a fucking idiot. Like, straight up, bro.
Hillary or whoever he wanted to.
That's
I
weaponizing.
think that if Trump's first candidacy resulted in Hillary Clinton being in jail, there would have been a higher chance that he got reelected. I think that's what would. I actually think it would have massively increased it.
No.
Want his campaign to have been about, tax reform and things like that. That is not what he said on the stump. Time after time after
And
time.
also
He
the
talked about
January-
going after his enemies.
I'm heartened by the fact that the left still cannot figure
A lot of people that are bringing up the tariffs and everything, I think that a lot of you guys don't understand the fact that the average American doesn't understand what a tariff is or how it works. I think that if you were to ask how many people understand tariffs that are voters, I would say 5% or less. Yeah, probably about 5% or less. So that wasn't really the reason. Less than 1%? Yeah, I mean, it's definitely pretty bad.
Part of the economy plan was getting rid of income tax, federal income tax, which was supposed to be temporary, by the way. This is not part of our system that was supposed to be like every fucking paycheck forever.
But
which again we're ignoring here because it's just tariffs. No, there's like 15 million things that go into an economy. I think it's super disingenuous that him and his chat are doing this shit. Which chat I understand, but come on, Asmon, like you deal with business. Is it really only tariffs that affect your fucking businesses or your former businesses? Like really? Fucking tariffs? Is that like the biggest obstacle in business, really?
I think that's really what's happening here.
Just skip to the January 6th part of it.
Like,
he made that a big part of his campaign,
Yeah.
that he would, if he were in power, pardon those people. You can't say that that was not on the agenda. It absolutely was.
Okay.
What was the campaign about? Why did
Because this is the way that I think a lot of conservatives see it.
Let's hear.
They
Let's
see,
hear.
like,
Let's
for
hear.
example, like all like the BLM riots from back then, and then they saw that a lot of those people seemingly didn't get in trouble, and they weren't dealt with in the way that I think a lot of people wanted them to be dealt with.
True.
And I think that now they look at January 6th as like, okay, well, this was our bad thing that we did, but we're getting punished and you're not. So that's why people support letting the January 6 people go.
That's cute, Asmongold, but there's also the fact that there were government agents that literally pushed for rioting And considering we have one death at January 6th and then people who died afterward for completely unrelated instances, it's not as bad as a BLM riot. However, I think it's very strange that the government let these people in, joined the crowd, started pretending to be upset and goading on other people. These people are being set up by the government. They shouldn't be in fucking jail. That's how I see it. Like, they're being set up in a very strange way. So I think that's an important point to note. He's not noting that. I doubt he will. I don't think he even knows that. But most people don't check out trials. Most people don't look at information. And this is why he's not a liberal. I'm not calling him a liberal, but the liberals in general don't have like basic information about all this shit. Like with Trump's, what they've accused Trump of doing to give him felonies.
Oh, it's simple tribalism. That's it. That's the reason. Because like, I don't think they should be let go.
People are more complex than you understand and more simple than some people think. I think that's the best way to describe people. They will always be more complex than you or anyone else understands, but they are more simple than some people think that they are. Right? So.
Absolutely not. But you can see very easily how a person comes to that conclusion.
Government kind of goaded them into this and let them in the fucking building. There's no police barricades, nothing.
Those other things when it comes to the Department
Very
of
strange.
Justice.
I don't know what he's going to do. I'm not.
A
I don't
big
talk
part
to
of the
him.
campaign
I'm just.
was being a victim. Like, that was a big part of it, was his victimhood.
That is insane, bro. He is a fucking victim. You tried to kill him twice. What the fuck? Is attempted murder, does that make you a victim? I think so.
They're coming for you, but they're going to have to get through me. That was his whole line. That is all about the enemies list. That
Oh
is
my
all-
God, shut the fuck up.
She's exactly right.
No.
She's completely right.
That's so stupid.
He's gonna play it down.
He actively was a victim.
But they're right.
So fucking disingenuous. It's such a stupid point from Asmon here. He was actively a victim. He's not playing the victim. They tried to kill him twice. And they're trying to take parental rights away from children. This is not speculation or like conspiracy. This happened. Like, what do you mean? They are targeting, they are doing things that affect everyone. And they are doing things that directly affect his life. The rhetoric that they're spewing out is obviously goading people into attacking. And when you're calling an entire other side Nazis and fascists, what do you think is going to fucking happen when mentally ill people hear this? You're saying they're not that he's not a victim and that other Republicans aren't victims? How about you go on fucking Twitter and you, I don't know, pay attention and you can see all of the people making very, like, obviously people always get individual death threats, happens. This is on a massive scale happening right now and it's fucking concerning. People linking where to buy guns, all this weird, like, mind broken, like, just stupid shit. And it's because the left has completely radicalized their side to like the utmost degree with this rhetoric. How can you say, oh yeah, it's victimized. It's victimized. He's playing the victim. He is not playing. You can't play something you are. That's like saying I'm playing a black person. That is literally impossible. I am black. I could play a white person, I guess. You give me fucking paint. I don't think that'd go over well. But I'm not playing black. I'm not playing male. I am those things. He is literally, by definition, a victim of several crimes. Like, this whole idea, like...
The problem is that everybody knows that, and they voted for it.
I totally disagree.
The deep state.
That's
this is the stuff that he talked about on
the deep state is actively after him.
Those are his own words.
I listen plenty.
Scott, if you believe that people who violated the Capitol on January 6th committed a crime, which I would hope you would, because they weren't invited in the way they claimed they were, right? They were not there. They didn't go through security the way the rest of us have to go through to get into the Capitol.
They let them in. There is video evidence. They let them in.
And now they're serving jail time.
Again, this is bullshit. You guys don't have to believe me. Literally, look it up. They let them in. I'm pretty sure Asmongold reacted to clips of this shit, actually, a while ago. You can say maybe not everyone, but they definitely let people in. That is not conspiracy. This literally happened, and it's confirmed they had government agents that were goading them on to riot. That's literally what happened. And like this whole idea, like we talk about misinformation, all you have to do is look. It's not even hard to find this information. There's video evidence. Like that's the crazy part, bro. There's video evidence
that they're political prisoners and he is going to spring them, right?
Yeah, of course.
What does that tell you about how he's going to weaponize the Justice Department, and on whose behalf? On behalf of people who committed crimes for him, not for anybody else.
I mean,
Exactly. That's why he's going to spring them. It's because they're on his side. Like,
Yeah.
I just...
Sure.
I think
Yeah.
that a very big
I mean, it's not
problem
completely
that a
wrong
lot of
that
the
he
media
is on his
has
side,
is
but
that the media relies on
Trump also pardoned like 30,000 people or whatever it was when he was president before who didn't commit crimes for him. So
optics in order
but
to
whatever.
push people
I mean,
to opinions that they don't actually have. And the big issue is that the average person might not say this, but the average person thinks it. And that's why you see a lot of dissonance whenever you look at polls versus actual voting behavior. It's because people say things that sound good, but then they actually go to vote, and then they vote for something that's a lot worse. That's society? Yeah. Because polls aren't random? Yeah. Mainstream media tells you who you should be mad at? Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, what Democrats have weaponized justice system for years. It's time for them to play defense. Well, like, your comment here... Like, by the way, like, weaponizing the justice system is bad, right? It's bad whoever's doing it.
again, doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. This isn't weaponizing the justice system. This is putting people in fucking prison or firing them where they should be. He's not making up charges like they did.
However...
Okay, I'm going to explain what the fuck he was charged with. The 34 felonies are from, one, paying a fucking Peace Star before he ran for president. That's one. Which, by the way, Bill Clinton should be in jail for if you're going to keep that narrative, but whatever. There's that, which most reasonable people be like, okay, that doesn't really sound like a felony, and it really does sound like he should be in jail for. And two, all of the cases, I think that were, because they dropped that one, all of the ones that counted at 34 that everyone's talking about, they're literally charging him for the same exact crime 34 times. And the crime that he committed were, one, misdemeanors. Two, there's no stolen money. It was a booking error. And three, they all were past the statute of limitations, something he never brings up and he never mentions because I don't think Asmongold even knows this. A lot of people don't. They were past the statute of limitation. They're misdemeanors. They created a whole new fucking law. This literally, Trump is the first person in U.S. history to be hit with these felonies that they just created to get him. That's why people are mad. It's not the fact that he committed an actual crime and people are like, just let it go. The crime didn't fucking exist. And the ones that you could have gotten him for were fucking past the statute of limitations to the point they had to make a new fucking crime. That's weaponizing the justice system. People who did shit like that need to be out of their positions. I don't care what the fuck he has to say. I don't care what anyone else has to say. They need to be moved out of their positions because that is dangerous as fuck. I can just make up crimes for my political opponents? What does that say for the future of this country or elections? Like, that makes no sense. This whole concept, like, well, they just came after him and now he's just getting revenge. No, this is a serious issue with a lack of justice in this country. And I think we need to make that clear. He didn't commit any fucking crimes. And the worst they could have gotten him with was misdemeanors. And they upgraded them to felonies despite them being fucking past the statute of limitations. Like, that's fucking crazy. Fucking crazy.
This is what people think, and that's what they're voting on.
So it's not a matter of thinking. It's
that's
like, no,
the reason.
Like, just straight up.
And
First
so
person.
I actually think it
for
is
this
that
to happen
simple
to
in a lot of cases. So getting inside a building illegally is worthy of jail, but getting inside a country is not. I mean, I'm not making this argument. I'm not saying that. I mean, you want to argue with them, go ahead. But, like, I'm saying that I think that there's a lot of, like, unspoken truth and unspoken reality that mainstream media and a lot of people, even on the internet, are unwilling to approach. And I think that also people think that simply repudiating it and saying that it's bad or that it's evil is enough to just make it stop happening. Yeah. I don't think that's the case, and I think that it's very obvious.
That's why you have to fire them, Asmongold. But you're saying, well, it's bad to do that, but it's also bad to ignore them. No, it's fucking stupid to ignore people like this and let them go on to do this to every Republican candidate from here on out. And if a Republican does this in the future, they should also be fucking reprimanded. That's the right answer. That's the right thing to do. This isn't negotiable, and Asmongold's just fucking wrong here. It's not bad to go after people who are actively, one, abusing the legal system, and two, possibly breaking the fucking law actively on a much more serious scale than paying a fucking peace officer. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, what the fuck? Who cared? Who cared? Who actually cared? I never even see that charge talked about. Everybody's talking about he has 34 felonies. He has 34 felonies. I have no idea that they made the fucking law up. They made it up. They were fucking misdemeanors that were past the statute of limitations. Like, just a little bit of research before talking on issues, because you push this narrative like, oh, Trump shouldn't do this. He doesn't do this, and further presidents get fucked. That's what happens.
Yes,
that's literally what happens.
So the problem is that people,
because it's not hard to find.
Like, and this is the issue, is that media is built around optics. It's not built around reality, and it's not really built around policy. I think that if you were to poll a lot of average, like if you were to look at the amount of Trump voters that there were, and you were to ask them, would you be okay with mass deportations, even deporting children that have been born here that have birthright citizenship? I think that you would get
I think Trump very clearly said from that point on, people born here. So it wouldn't be people who are already born here. It would be people in the future who are born here. From whenever that's passed. I could be wrong, but I am 90% sure
if you could read their
that's
minds.
What he said. 90%.
They might not say it publicly, but if you could read their minds, I think you would get a lot of yeses.
But yeah, we're fine with deportation. Like, you shouldn't be here. Okay.
I admire your.
Why would the kids stay if their parents gone?
Naivete or optimism that Trump is going to run on the policies you care about deregulation and tax cuts and whatnot.
Fake ass.
That's just not what his campaign was about.
Well,
I
think
it's literally what it was.
With all due respect, I've run more campaigns than you.
Most people talked about the economy when they talk about why they voted. That, and also the transgender issue and in relation to children. That's all I've seen was talked about. Nobody was talking about, oh yeah, he needs to get revenge, so I'm going to vote for this guy that I'm not already following so he can get revenge on them. That makes no fucking sense, bro. Literally makes no sense. I don't even understand how. That makes no sense, bro. Would you, okay, I'm going to put it this way. Would you go out and get revenge on a guy for a guy you don't know? Like, genuinely speaking, would you go out and try to, like, you hear a random dude's been murdered. You're going out to assassinate the dude who did it? No. No movie. I'm not going to say no movie. Most movies are not like that. It's like, oh, you killed my daughter. You killed my son. You know, shit like that. And then you have a reason. What the fuck is the reason of someone who wasn't actively supporting him to go and get revenge? That makes no sense.
And I know what campaigns are about, and I know why people walk into voting booths.
Why people walk into voting booths and what Trump plans to do when handed the presidency are two different things.
No, you say he ran on that, you dumb bitch. You're just lying,
there
bro.
It is. And so
you literally just said he ran on that. What? Bro, I didn't focus on CNN, bro. CNN is so bad. It's so obnoxiously, like, not even just biased. The motherfuckers just lie, bro. She just contradicted herself. Oh, well, they may not be voting for that. You just said that was what he ran on. That was his, like, what?
People are getting real mad about this. That's what his campaign was about. Yeah. And according to CNN, they're brainwashed because they don't understand what they want.
That's so dumb, bro. Oh,
what was it about then?
Fucking God.
And bad argument, but he's not wrong.
So bad.
Americans are afraid to say that they want a dictator or president as either liberal or Republican, since both parties only care about their side winning instead of policies. Yeah, I think exactly.
Really? Because we just went over, like, in the beginning, his very beneficial policies for the majority of people, regardless of what side you're on. But interesting take. I guess that video doesn't matter. It's just perception.
Mode. Yeah. And she's obviously unhinged. I think the problem is that the big issue is that, like, a lot of conversations about this are built around, like, kind of how it sounds to say a certain thing in a certain way.
Talk about politics.
But
Why?
I don't think that average people care about that optics as much as I would say like media does. Yeah, and I think that like this sentiment here is exactly why people don't care about January 6th. It's because they're also disingenuous. They're crying about January 6ers going free. When they set 2020 rioters free, January 6ers didn't burn entire cities to the ground. And the truth is that no matter what you think about this statement, whether you think this is a true statement or not, this is an opinion that is shared by enough people that it can shift the election. And if enough of those people get together, this opinion becomes the rule. And that's it. And so the problem is...
By the way, there's no opinion here. I mean, they are being pretty disingenuous. Like, I think you can say they're factually being disingenuous. I mean, I guess that can't be facts. I don't know. I wouldn't really call it opinion. He's saying they're crying about January 6ers being free when they set the 2020 rioters free, which is true. I don't know if he knows anything about state laws, but in New York, for example, where there's a massive liberal population, you get arrested, you literally get set free the next day. Like, you do not go to jail for a long period of time anymore in New York, especially for stuff like stealing and all this shit. I guarantee they immediately got released. This has been all over the news. This is very easy to look at. Something tells me in like New York and California, they were fucking released.
A lot of people think
bare
that
minimum.
They think that they can like kind of
Soft
bully
on
people
crime.
out of like these types of opinions. It isn't an opinion; it's a fact.
True.
I don't think it's that simple. Just for the record, I don't think this is a.
It is.
I don't think this is a good faith evaluation.
Yeah, it is. It is 100% is. These liberal cities, he doesn't live in the real fucking world. I'm going to tell you guys how it is right now. In these liberal cities, I'm a New Yorker, by the way. This dude's in Texas. Very different. You are going to get out of jail these days pretty fucking easily. The police are overburdened. They're overworked. We have a significant increase in crime. The soft on crime policies are fucking horrible. You can look them up yourself. It is very bad. You basically get no time for stealing. If you're not murdering someone, you are getting no time. They are taking you in. They're putting you out on $0 bonds and then send you on your way. The zero tolerance, or zero tolerance, I wish. The zero like actual convicting of criminals is the biggest problem in New York right now in terms of safety. They're not putting the criminals away. That's a big thing in New York right now. So when he says this, it's just not true.
That being said,
it's black and white. They're not putting them in jail.
It doesn't matter because if other people think that, then that's all there is to it.
Like he's trying to overcomplicate something.
Riot costs.
Very real.
Why? Why do I think it's not a good faith evaluation? Because tons of people got arrested in the riots.
Yeah, like, and tons of people immediately got fucking released, and tons of people didn't. Tons of people got released pretty fucking soon after. So...
Literally hundreds, if not thousands of people got arrested in the riots. Some of them went free, some of them didn't go free. A lot of them were charged with crimes, and they did get in trouble.
I'm pretty sure all of them are free today. I'm pretty sure.
Tons? Yeah, I guarantee you. Like the riots were massive. Of course they arrested
maybe
tons
I'm
of
wrong.
people.
Maybe they just somehow got back into prison.
And also not every single person in January 6th got arrested either. That's really the difference. Most went free. Yeah, I bet probably a lot of the people from January 6th went free too. Like that's they got bailed out. Yeah, I mean, is this not true?
January 6th was actively pushed by the government, which was against the sitting president. And there were agents involved. So, whereas another group just wanted to loot and steal shit. Could there have been agents involved in some of those? Sure. And every single one of them, I really fucking doubt it. I really doubt it. They would have needed a lot of black agents. Which they just don't have.
Yeah, I'm very confused. January 6th only if you were in the Capitol? Yeah.
The Capitol, they literally
I'm very confused here. 14,000 people got arrested during BLM? Yeah, that's a lot of people.
How many of them are still in prison?
This chat's so lost. The problem is that
Booking someone and putting them into the fucking prison for 2 days is not the equivalent of trying to send people away for fucking years, dude. These are not equivalent.
People are
man.
so ideologically captured by certain points of view that they're unwilling to cede any ground or to look at anything that doesn't completely agree with them.
Like how you refuse to even look at what Trump was charged with, right? Because you've already made your opinion. Well, he probably did these crimes. No, like every time I've seen him talk about this, he never brings up what actually the crimes were. I don't even think he knows. Again, this is like just fatal fallacy.
Being legitimate at all.
Do the same exact shit,
think
bro.
This is like this radicalization
Same
has
exact
happened,
shit.
and it's gotten worse and worse and worse.
It's not
Chat's
really
past
radical.
cooked. Yeah, it is. And I don't really have a problem with this, guys. Again, people can disagree all they want. Like, if you're insulting or hostile or rude, then you'll get banned. But if you just want to voice disagreement, then that's fine. The point is that I think a lot of people have become so radicalized by this that anything that they hear that is even 1% off of what they believe to be true, they just lose their minds. They like even.
I mean, that's true.
And
sure
this
there's a
happens
bunch of
with
people like
left-wing
that.
people too, right? Like, for example, if you're pro-trans, but you don't think that trans women should compete against biological women, you're seen as a transphobe. You can be pro-trans, but if you don't think that trans women should use women's bathrooms, you're like a TERF, right? That's what happened to J.K. Rowling. So the problem is that there are like these infinite purity tests. Zach, you've created an echo chamber. How could it be possible that I created an echo chamber when we're talking about everybody in chat disagreeing?
Who the
Has
fuck
it ever
said
occurred
that?
to you that maybe that's illogical?
Who the fuck said that?
Yeah.
What the fuck? What the? Homie just wanted to be different, man.
Somebody says that I don't really know what I'm talking about. Let me go ahead and look at this. So what do you think that I don't know about this?
Well, to be honest, Asmongold, I've pretty much laid out about a lot of shit you clearly don't fucking know. You don't know anything about the situation. You're comparing very different situations. You won't go over what Trump actually did. You keep calling it revenge when obviously it would be justice if you're if you're completely bypassing the legal system to get someone, that you need to be fucking removed. Like, what are we talking about? Like, revenge? This dude's an active victim. I think it's justice. And my proof is that he didn't go after Hillary before. You can't say he's a vengeful person. He didn't go after Hillary before. You could say he's harsh sometimes. He does a lot of firing, but he could have put Hillary in prison. She broke several fucking federal laws. Literally took a laptop and completely destroyed it. Like, completely tampered with evidence to the extremes, bro. And there are reports about this. And he didn't pursue her or go after her. So when you say revenge, you're trying to make it seem like, well, he's just being petty, because it's kind of what revenge is. This is justice, and it's actively protecting citizens of this nation and future presidents, whatever side they're on. You shouldn't be able to do what happened to Trump to anyone running for president ever again. And it's just like your take on this is like so fucking like just dumb to me. Like, I don't want to be me. I like Asmongold, bro. I watch Asmongold damn near every day. I've supported him a shit ton. Sometimes I criticize him, but I supported him even through the Hamas stuff. I think he's typically like, he's open-minded. I think if he heard these points, he would understand if he did some more research, but he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Straight up doesn't. I don't think he's really in the political space enough to really know what the fuck he's talking about when it comes to current events. I think he can draw metaphors and like comparisons to old shit and comparisons pretty okay, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. You expect me to believe he read over court documents, that he watched all of these trials and went over the evidence and all this other shit? Did he have the hours to do that? Like all of these, like, for example, political YouTubers, you'll never really see the Democrats talk about what his felonies are. Think about that. Do you ever hear about what they are? Most people don't even know. Straight up. I guarantee most liberals straight up do not know what Trump was charged with. They just see 34 felonies. That's all they see. It's fucking crazy. And he's one of them, I think.
It's an echo chamber because I disagree with you. You don't really disagree. we know where you stand. Yeah.
That guy was a fucking idiot who said it was echo. I don't think his community is not an echo chamber. They are very diverse, clearly.
Disagreement? Yeah, sure. Well, I think that also it really depends on what it is.
It's crazy.
Every time you say you're not against abortion, yeah. Well, let me see what this is.
I don't think this guy is gonna respond. Or
That's me. Gay community. I support trans people, but I said trans women have biological advantage. I got banned from LGBT group. Yeah, I think this is a really good example here, right?
Well, that's why they lost the election.
This is kind of like, this is the problem with radicalization, is that gay community, I support trans people, but I said trans women have a biological advantage, and I got banned from an LGBT group. Yeah, there you go.
I support gender, I said woman.
This exact thing happens. Yep, 100%.
Oh, we got banned. They're like, yeah, nah. It's funny because there's a lot of mothers who are saying like, that's why I voted. That's why I voted for Republicans.
I'll give the person like another minute, then I want to move on.
They didn't. I don't think this person's gonna respond, bro. I don't think they do.
I saw a Reddit post where they said your chat's a far right echo chamber. Maybe that's what he's referring to. I think the reason why I have a lot of right-wing people in my chat is because I don't ban them.
Far right?
Most other chats, you get banned for having a lot of right-wing opinions, and I don't ban them. So it would logically make sense that they would come to my chat because they wouldn't get banned here. So because I allow people to have opinions, then, you know, I'm considered like an echo chamber? I don't think so. There's a lot of things that add up to why Trump got elected. It's not possible to go over it in a 2-second chat. I give up. You give up because you know that what you're saying is inaccurate. Again, if you want to provide an argument, that's fine. But just calling me stupid and saying that I don't know what I'm talking about isn't really productive, and I don't want to hear that. Sorry. But yeah.
I mean, I went over why he's completely like just wrong about why Trump got elected. It doesn't even make sense from a human fuck, what is the word? This is killing me. A human behavior standpoint. That makes no sense. It was for revenge against the system. No. Most people don't need revenge against the system. Believe it or not, most people are not in prison. There's not, like, I don't know how this came to be. Like, this is not how he got elected.
Of course there were a lot of reasons.
There's a lot of reasons.
I think that's obvious. I mean, anybody could assume that. 1,000 people were arrested in Portland, but 0 were prosecuted, so it's a moot point. They literally burned the city to the ground with 0 consequences. I'd have to look and see what happened, but yikes. I think also Portland isn't the only city.
Okay, that doesn't matter. It's kind of people's point, though. You can't
happened
do this
all over
to
the
one
country. Yeah, the whole city. Yeah. Portland was not burned to the ground. Yeah, I think so too. No, they paid the rioters millions of dollars. Why did IO Cheese getting banned? Oh, he was just being rude. Looks like he decided not to argue. A lot of people like roach out whenever they get called up for something because they. I think that again, if somebody wants to disagree in a way that I find is patronizing or rude, then I just ban them.
That's 100% fair. That guy was.
You have a lot of new chatters in here from the left, just waiting for you to fuck up and they're baiting you.
Not Asmongold. That guy made his own point look stupid when he was like, "Well, there's a lot of reasons he got voted. I'm not gonna argue though. Like, you just talk all that shit, just say something. Like, it's not hard. Typing's pretty fucking fast, and it allows you to think easier than speaking. For me, it's hard for me to remember like numbers and all that shit while I'm talking versus typing or writing. It's just way easier.
I have no problem with that. It doesn't.
You can't do that. You can't talk it usually.
To be honest, I'm very relaxed, and everything's totally fine. I'm not upset about anything. Everything's been going great. Honestly, like, I think chat's been great. You've got to have, and you're going to have some people that disagree or whatever. That's fine. But overall, I think it's fine. Like, that's what happens. I mean, there's a chat room. There's 50,000 people in the chat. What a surprise that there's going to be some people that are dissenters, some people that are disagreeers, some people that don't see it the way that I see it. So I don't really take this as any sort of like a problem or anything like that. There's just going to be disagreements with any.
I think that issue with Asmongold is that he doesn't really have a conviction or moral ground to really, like, it's not. I get nobody's as simple. Like, everybody diverges, right? But he unfortunately goes off of like a sort of image where like I don't care, and when you have an I don't care image, like, it's really hard when you talk about politics because okay, you don't have children. You don't seem to care about the future very much when it comes to anything and the way you live. No offense, but like, I mean, recently he's cleaned up his room, right, and shit, but he doesn't give off, like, he doesn't live in a certain, like, special way that would make you think he really believes in much. He doesn't speak like he does either. There's no ideology I know of his. I know he has some socialist views, which is, like, literally Satan to American people, right? So that's about as far as I know when it comes to him aligning with anything. I think being like more center is fine, but there's a certain point where like a side goes too far, and I think it's just easier to like make your points very clear. And he's very wishy-washy, you know, it's very cowardly in my opinion. He's very wishy-washy on certain issues. Like just let people know where you stand if you're gonna talk about politics. If not, and be kind of wishy-washy, like, well, I kind of agree with this person. Everybody feels that way. There are things I agree with the left on, things I agree with the right on. Like literally every human being is that way. I think it's super weird. And then he'll go hard on like some issues, which is why it was jarring for some people when he went hard against Hamas. It's like even with something as obvious as that, people are gonna have blowback. So I think it's just be more forthcoming with what he believes, and if he is going to make an opinion on something, the bare minimum you could do is look up what the charges are. And then at least, even if you think, well, he still committed the crime, even though it was it was past the date where they can convict him for it, and they made a new fucking law to arrest him and turn misdemeanors into felonies. Even if you want to be like, well, they could still get him for it, in my opinion. That's fine. At least lay out the facts of the situation so people understand you know that, or to help other people see your point of view. But you're just saying like, yeah, it's for revenge. It's for revenge. Like this dude wasn't shot. That's what's pissing me off. Like this whole thing, politics itself isn't emotional for me. It's just like this whole idea that it is revenge and that these people don't need to be brought to justice when all of their rhetoric and everything they've been doing has put a man's life at risk is crazy to me. If that's not what is justice? He's not going out trying to shoot him. In my opinion, revenge is, oh, you tried to kill me, I'm gonna go shoot you. You think it's revenge to go to the police when someone shoots at you? Think it's revenge to report a corrupt police officer? That's revenge. That's not justice. Like, people are trying to make it seem so much more sinister, which is why this wording is what matters, and he doesn't see that. The wording matters a lot. What the left is obviously trying to do is paint him as a fucking villain for doing the right thing. So when you say revenge, you're literally telling them that they're right. Like, oh, he's just petty. Oh, he's just trying to get revenge because they were trying to convict him on stuff he did. No, lay out the fucking facts. Please, Asmongold. Please, please, please. Lay out the fucking facts. Do your research on what Trump actually did. I think like, should they have given a fucking president or someone running for president those felonies after he started running to silence him? Do you think that's the right fucking thing to do? Like, seriously, like, at what point do we draw the line? Do you think he should just let those people go? If the just thing is to go after these people using the legal system, which is what's supposed to correct these people, and the judicial system and everything that was made to keep those people in check. These systems are called checks and balances. Your argument is, oh, it's revenge if you use them. That's fucking stupid. No, this is justice. This is stopping this from happening again. It's just so, that point is just frustrating to me because if this man died, like, I need you guys to understand, if this man died or went to prison, this country could be in a very bad spot. And you guys are trying to turn this into, well, he's just petty. No, this is fucking serious. This is not a joke. This isn't some little kitty. We called him a bad name. No, they have been villainizing and demonizing this man to the point he almost died twice. And like, I don't think people understand how close he was to die and how like ridiculous it is. It didn't change the Democrat Party. It didn't, because they want him to die. They wanted him to go to prison. They are using these things to try to get rid of him because they knew they couldn't beat him. They lied about the polls and what the polling would look like. Their predictions were way off from what they were telling us. They said it would be close. Towards the end, they were saying Kamala would win. And he ended up with a fucking landslide. So, like, it's just serious shit. And like, I love Asmongold, but like when you're talking about stuff like setting things right in our fucking system, you better get it fucking right. At least add the fucking fact. At least look it up. Open a new tab. Look up what was Trump charged with. Did he commit these crimes? Was anyone else ever convicted of these crimes? Why did misdemeanors get turned into felonies? And then why are they, if they really thought they had a case, they would charge him and arrest him before he took fucking power. That's what would happen. That's what happened. They would expedite the process very quickly, but instead they're dropping all of the charges. You don't bring that up here. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, it just seems so fucking biased because you want him to be a bad person. I understand not liking Trump, right? Like, Asmongold doesn't really hide that he's not a giant fan of Trump outside of the content he provides. But, like, at least be fucking honest and give him a fucking fair chance. Give people the information they need to make a choice. You have a left-wing audience that I guarantee don't know this. So why not use your platform to at least educate? If you're going to be stuck in the middle of the fucking road, lost, like you don't know where to go. If you're going to do that, the bare minimum you could do is be an information provider so that people can make choices. Trump didn't win based off of wanting revenge on fucking people when they weren't following Trump to begin with, the people who mattered in the vote. They obviously weren't hardcore Trump fans, so revenge was off the table for a reason to vote. Like, oh my God, man, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because he had plenty of people to go after 2020 as well. People didn't vote for him then. Like, it's just so frustrating, man. Because like, I love Asmongold, but like, this is his fatal flaw. He doesn't understand politics because he's not into it.
So I don't really see it being an issue.
He understands people on a very surface.
Summer of
he's very intelligent. He understands people, but on like a very like specific way. He doesn't really understand the complexities of people. I don't think he socializes enough, to be honest with you, with normal people. I think chat is not a good example of socializing with actual people. Eating with people, you know, and seeing people in real life, seeing how they act, how they talk, being able to read fucking expressions, like just be super socially aware. I think Asmongold is highly intelligent. I bet you if he took an IQ test, he'd have high intelligence. But the thing is, the higher your IQ goes up, the less areas of expertise you have intelligence in. You become a lot more like focused in certain areas. Jordan Peterson, I believe, talks about this with Elon Musk. I believe it was that episode or it was with someone else, but I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was Elon Musk that he was talking to. But the higher your IQ, you do become like, I think he's a really smart guy, but I think he has like holes that he's not even thinking about. Like, he's not thinking about the greater moral question of why somebody may think, okay, this is a serious risk to democracy. Like, he doesn't think average people can have the capacity to think like that because he doesn't think like that. I don't think he has a great moral, like, thought process. But for me, it's, like, very serious to me. Like, I genuinely care about this country. I love this country. I served it for 4 years. I genuinely love America. I don't think any country's better than it. I don't think he understands what that feels like. And because of that, he's missing, like, these thoughts that people could have. Like, he's not understanding, like, the very big difference between revenge and justice. Like, there's a big fucking difference in how people receive that. So I think his lived experience, everybody's lived experience, not just him, right? Everybody's lived experience completely changes how you see the world, the things you're able to latch onto, things you're able to understand and process, things that you it warps what information you give to other people and all this other stuff. But I think he completely missed in this video, in my opinion. Like, he completely missed, like, what Trump was charged for is a big one, and it pisses me off. Not him, because I understand why he doesn't know what actually happened with the Trump case and why it was like, it's not just revenge. Like, these people need to go to fucking jail. Like, they need to be fired. Like, they legit made up charges to a person running to stop him from running. That is, fuck revenge. These people need to be put away. I don't blame him for not knowing, but I wish he would have he would have, because he has a massive platform and he has he's one of the few people with a lot of Democrats and Republicans in his fucking chat. And he could have swayed some of those people to like maybe look and be like, maybe something is wrong. Maybe I should support my current president for 4 years on this, at least on this one thing. But he failed, man. And that shit's sad. It makes me sad, bro. Not really. I'm gonna cry. Nah, but like, just seriously, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just. It may not seem big to some people. Like, some people may be like, why is making it such a big deal that he said revenge and not justice? Because revenge makes it seem like you have less of a reason to go after someone, or it's only personal. And like, these people aren't crooked as fuck. Like, if you want to say a mixture of revenge and justice, I guess, sure, like, he was the target, but this man is actually a fucking victim of the system. There are very few people who could say they have been the victim of the system like him. And damn sure no other president in fucking history that I know of. I'm sure somebody may be able to find one like from very long ago. But Obama didn't go through this. Joe Biden didn't go through this. I don't think George W. Bush went through this. I don't think any of these like modern presidents went through this shit. And it's concerning. And like, he failed to touch on that at all. It's just like, yeah, revenge is what politics do. This isn't normal politics. This is not what normally happens. You don't normally get shot twice on the fucking campaign trail, and possibly today after you win the presidency. That's not normal, Asmongold. It's not normal. I don't like, what the fuck? It's not normal for them to try to send you to prison on the campaign trail with 34 felonies for a crime they just made up.
Nationwide rioting, and it got dubbed the Summer of Love, but oh no, someone moved a podium. Well, and so this is what I'm talking about, right? Is that I think there are two sides of unreasonable behavior that are happening that are being kind of put against each other. So basically, I think that everybody who participated in the riots and BLM and actually destroyed property, I think that they should be criminally prosecuted and put in jail. Period.
It's too
That's
late.
it.
They're not going to.
Like, there's literally no fine print there.
Yeah, they're
and
not
I think
going
also,
to. And they
if you went inside the Capitol building,
good chunk of them,
and you actually damaged property or you took anything out of the Capitol building, I also think that you should be in jail.
Yeah, if you damage property,
both of these things are true.
100%.
If you walked out of that building with anything, you need to spend at least a year in jail.
Again, though, he fails to mention that there were government agents goading people on. It's just like a very different situation. It's like, I'm not even gonna make that comparison. I was thinking, it's not that I was stuck on my words. I was gonna make a comparison. I'm not even going to. But it is very different when you have agents going out of their way, because you have to ask why. Why? Then how many of those agents were actually the people doing it, and now you're getting lumped in? Like, it's very. And they didn't report on this, which is the craziest part. They didn't report on any of this. It's very one-sided narrative compared to
and this is the thing, right? Is that people play sides with this, but I think that this is actually what most people think. If you entered all of them, yeah. What if they said BLM in the Capitol? Well, then, oh yeah, then they can go free, right? And so yeah, that's the way that I see it.
Just saying. BLM in the Capitol would be crazy. I hope that's why.
What are the chances Zach's been approached by the FBI or some government group and been offered something? I wish they did. That would be great. Yeah, that would be amazing. Jasko is regurgitating. The dude is regurgitating online talking points. Yeah, I think you're right. But if those talking points are believed by a lot of people, then they become real. That's the point.
Either way, this is not why people voted for him.
This is the issue that a lot of people have, is they try to make appeals to things like, well, this isn't true, or this isn't accurate, or you're looking at the wrong information. You guys need to understand that we live now in a world where people, like, and this is actually not even true. People have always thought like this. People don't care what your reality is. They care what their reality is. And that's why I've said before, like, the best argument isn't an argument. You can't engage people that have a position on something that is driven by faith or some form of emotion and then expect to reason them out of that position, because they never got to that position with reason in the first place. It's an objective reality.
Kind of. You can definitely convince people, even if they're religious, out of stuff. Though we don't really do human sacrifices anymore.
Oh yeah. Well, people don't have objective
A lot of
realities.
cultures
They don't
don't.
see that. And there's another one too. I actually forgot to talk about.
You can
this,
reason people out of
but,
stuff.
it's how people are like breaking into stores and they don't arrest them unless they steal over like $1,000.
Also, you can look at detransitioners as an example. You can look at a lot of shit. Like, people switch sides all the time. That's just not true. I think he thinks, again, this is a gap in his... I think he's highly intelligent. He has a lot of intuition, I think. Like, he's open. He has an open personality. He's willing to accept new information. I've never seen him really reject new information that heavily if it made sense. However, this is a gap in his social, like, awareness and, like, the amount of people he's, like, deeply interact with. I'm not saying I interact with like the most people in the world, but again, I was in the military for 4 years. I spoke to people from literally everywhere in the country every single day. I went through basic training, AIT, and then regular army, right? So I'm in one place for a couple of months. I get to know a bunch of people, like literally hundreds from all over the world. Got to work with them, got to trust them, got to learn how to shoot with them, which is like scary and shit. Got to sleep in the same area with them 24/7. After that, you get uprooted from there, and then you get moved over to your next training station. Mine was 6 months long. I was there for, I think, 5 months. I might have been there the whole 6 months because I was waiting for a security clearance, right? Can't get too much into that. But I was waiting for that, and I went to this next place. I meet more people from more places around the country. Some people from outside of the country, some people that barely speak English, like people from all over. You get to interact with people and you see people change, and I've seen stressful situations absolutely break and make some people. So I understand this. And then you move on to your normal duty station where you meet even more people. And then if you stay in, you move around, you do missions, you meet people. I'm a support MOS. I'm Signal, or was. I was Signal. I moved around with like fucking other units all the time. It's literally a job where you just interact with other people. It's communications. My whole point in this is that I have seen people change their opinions. I've seen people change religion. I've seen it all. Even before joining, I've seen people change religion. I've seen so many things, and I think he's missing out on the fact, like, I don't think he knows what he's talking about when it comes to people on a philosophical sense at all. I don't think he has any fucking clue what he's talking about. I don't think he understands really how complex people can be and how willing to change the general public is. Like, he sees people as such broads, and I don't think the majority of the country is as fucking dumb as he thinks they are. And I think this election proved it, because the left they were doing the same shit. They were trying to just say gender, race, sex, all this stuff. They're trying to say all this stuff, and it didn't work. People woke up and they started voting on more serious issues because they're seeing it. They're living out in the world. Asmongold's not seeing the fucking immigration issue. He's not walking around New York getting hit upside the fucking head. He doesn't know how big of a fucking issue that actually was in the election. Go look at the amount of people who voted for Trump in New York. I'm pretty sure it was records high. Like, he didn't live through that shit. He watches a lot of videos, and I think he forgets a lot of this stuff because, again, and this isn't bad. This isn't against him. Like, I forget shit all the time. But he may have forgotten, like, hey, New Yorkers were going through this, like, very long time. A lot of people, you have a grandma who gets fucking killed by an illegal immigrant, your perception is going to change. And then when you have a massive group of them doing this, when you have them taking over apartment complexes, that's multiple families affected. They leave. They have to go tell the rest of their family what happened. So then that changes that perspective. He's not thinking on a broad enough scale on how deep human interaction gets. He doesn't understand why people vote. He doesn't vote. He doesn't believe enough in anything, in my opinion. I think that's a fatal flaw. I think that's a terrible way to live at his age. You should have like really strong beliefs that you're clear on, but above all else, you should be able to believe in humanity as a greater force that will overcome whatever. I trust the opinions public on this election. It was so overwhelming. This wasn't close, and there was no suspicious shit. It was such an undeniable victory in every single category. Usually a president wins like House. They won't get, I don't fucking know. They won't have a majority of the governors. They may not get the entire Senate. Like they might not have as many Senate seats. But this time, Republicans won everything. That's what they call a mandate. There's so many people in this country voting for you to do what you promised, that they gave you everything. I don't think he understands how crazy that is, and how for that many people in this country to be in sync, that's not for revenge, my boy. It's not. That's a very serious concern from people for a lot of different issues, man. People are very deep, and I don't think he gets that. I really don't. If you enjoyed this, this is already long. Might as well finish it though. We're close. We'll finish.
Worth of stuff. I think that there's a lot of people that see videos of a handful of people breaking into a fucking a Walgreens or a CVS, and then just putting a bunch of shit in a bag and leaving. I think an average person sees that and they say, I want to vote for whatever makes that stop happening.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That ended, didn't it? I'm not sure where it stands right now. Sounds fair? Yeah.
There's a lot of issues people vote for.
And this is
Democrats are the biggest issue in the country right now.
Social media.
Clearly.
I think in a
their policies,
country,
I should say, not the people
maybe we
necessarily.
Need to have a different set of regulations for social media platforms now that they're this big.
It would help if we could regulate social media, because one of the biggest offenders is D.C. and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of social media.
And then moves them through YouTube videos, through...
They want to control social media because social media is so much more popular than any of these shows, than any of these news organizations. Asmongold, if he started a fucking news station, would get 5 billion times the views as any of them. I would watch the shit out of that, bro. I think if my whole point with Asmongold and this whole thing is, one, I don't think he understands social interactions or the actual problems of everyday people in a not even abstract enough way, just a more realist kind of way. He definitely underestimates people, but also just his lack of information on the topic. I think he is smart enough where if he just researched the topics, he would be great at news, delivering news on his thing. I don't think he has a passion for that. He doesn't seem to. He seems to enjoy the drama and debating and argument side of it. But I think if he wanted to, he could absolutely completely override all of these channels, plenty of people do already.
Podcast moves them from that annoyance
his personality is
all the
great
way
for it.
slowly,
He's very open. He has a very open
to a
personality.
full-blown fascist politics. We don't have the equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction.
Go fuck yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is.
So this is what's happening, is that now that people are mobilizing on social media, because this guy actually said, I like this guy a lot. Take a look at this.
And here's how we got beat. We got beat because the Republicans and the conservatives built a different media system that had to do with online.
No, you got beat because you are... This is the issue with the Democratic Party, right? He is completely ignoring the fact they never acknowledge what they did wrong. They refuse to. Maybe it's the fact that you wanted to take parental rights away for children, in an extreme fashion when it came to transgender affirmation care. Do you think maybe some women were I don't think abortions are as important as, I don't know, the children who are already here? Do you think maybe that has something to do with it? Do you think maybe it's the fact nobody voted for Kamawluh Hahhries to be your frontrunner for president and you just installed her? Maybe it's the fact that she refused to do any podcast or refused to talk to anyone that mattered. And when she did, she would fuck up. The very few times she did, she just fucked up and she couldn't talk and she couldn't articulate any of her policies correctly. Maybe it's because there's video compilations of her contradicting herself, like with the fracking thing, where she says she wants to end it, which would take 120,000 jobs from Americans, which would then affect all of their families, which would then affect their relatives, which would then affect the economy, which would do all of this shit. And then she goes on and says she doesn't want to do that, but then she wants to do that another day. And people with those jobs are probably like, I don't want to fucking do that. I don't want to take the risk of her taking my fucking job because I have 4 kids, or I have a wife, or I have my fucking dog to take care of, you know? Like, it's fucking crazy. Like, it's because the Republicans, they did this and that and that and that. You guys could have won if you did better. Not if the Republicans fucked up, if you did better. That should be your first game plan.
To do with podcasts, had to do with streaming platforms, and they were spending their money there. We were laughing at them and knocking on doors in Philadelphia and Detroit. It's like, there's no Trump people. They're not dropping literature. They're not knocking on doors.
In fact, it was laughing like, oh, Elon Musk and Charlie Kirk with their PACs.
Andrew Yang.
We were making fun of Donald Trump for having thrown away his ground game and doing some weird stuff online. We thought that they were idiots. It turned out we were the idiots. It
was good for the younger vote. I don't know how much this helped with the older vote. I think Joe Rogan helped a lot. But you also have to ask, why did Joe Rogan couldn't be bought? That's the thing. He said he didn't want to do it. And he tried before, and Joe Rogan denied. So you also have to ask, why are these people siding with them? And it's policy, and it's the way you're acting. Joe Rogan, he obviously dissented from the Democratic Party and endorsed Trump for a reason. He saw a future with him. It's something you guys did. It's not because Trump is doing fucking podcasts. He invited Kamala on too. It's your policies. It's like this whole idea people don't have brains. And this is the mistake Asmongold is making. This is the mistake they made. People have fucking brains. There are a lot smarter people than you guys realize who just don't get involved in politics because they don't care. But they like watching Joe Rogan's podcast. You know why? Which, this is what they're right about. You know why they like watching it? Because they get to see the real person. Everything they've seen in Kamala was terrible. And that's not strategy on the Republican side. It's how you fucked up in terms of the fucking person you put out there. You had other options. You had other options who would have made different choices. It's not just what the Republicans did. It's what you guys did and the policies you have that are just bad. I don't see how you think transitioning children would, without their parents' consent, would resonate with women. Most women aren't going out there getting a shit ton of abortions. Only the irresponsible ones who are already on the fucking left. You already have those idiots. The people in the middle got fucking families. That's why they switch. Like, what's best for my family? What's best for this? If they were selfish, they'd be on the Democrat side. If they were super business oriented, they'd be on the Republican side for sure. But these people have families, and they swish and move, and they're like, you want to take my parental rights away? Like, that's such a big one for the female audience. And I keep bringing that one up because they're like, oh, you didn't want more rights for women, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of women who love their fucking children and would never think about having an abortion who aren't even religious. Just straight up facts. Straight up facts.
We woke up in a body
But it's
bag
what the Republicans
because while
did.
we were knocking on doors, they were making these phones into 24-hour-a-day political weapons for themselves. And so we got outflanked, outplayed, outbeat by people who told us the whole time that they knew what they were doing. And here...
Yep, he's completely right about everything.
He's only
Absolutely.
like very
And this is why they
right.
want to regulate social
Yeah, they want to regulate. He got
They
it.
want to regulate social media so they can view and they can like categorize people that dissent from them as somehow problematic and then remove them.
Yeah.
This is exactly what used to happen before Elon Musk bought Twitter.
Let's not
That's
vote
the
these
reason
people into
why they
power
want to regulate it.
until they
It's not like
change.
they want to regulate it because they're afraid of any sort of like actual problem. They're not afraid of anything, and to the extent that they are, it is primarily about here we go. We'll look at this here too. It's really about how social media provides a meritocracy for information. That's really it. They want control. Yeah, they don't want regulation, they want control. And by the way, I am a very big advocate for social media regulation, just not this kind of regulation.
particularly the media ecosystem it's not a good one, it's a negative one, it's a radicalization funnel. But what they have done in their online media ecosystem is build a radicalization engine, literally the way militant groups do around the world, that takes people from relatively low-level annoyance.
I hope that these people understand that radicalization engine, do you know who turns the key to turn the engine on? Is them.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are beginning this radical.
I was so glad he said that. I'm like, you guys completely blocked out Republican voices from like every major social media for like years. Like, this is you guys who started any of this.
By treating people that disagree with them as if they're like racist or sexist or psychos.
Yep. Then they start hating you.
That's how it started.
See, Asmongold's smart, bro. He understands.
Why are eggs so expensive?
On like more broad scales,
I think. Learning this new thing in American history in school that I didn't learn, and then moves them through YouTube videos, through podcasts, moves them from that annoyance all the way slowly to a full-blown fascist politics. It's an elaborate.
I don't really think
you guys literally worship communists and socialists. Like, it is an official left-wing fucking opinion that's good to be a communist. You're talking about fascism and all this oppression and shit. Show me the good communists. Show me the amazing socialist communities around the world that didn't end up with dictators. Why don't you guys move to those countries or start living like that now? It's so ironic, bro. It's so ironic.
Wait, what do they mean by fascist politics?
They just say words, bro. Literally.
What kind
just
of social media
buzzwords.
regulation do you think is good? For example, I don't think that anybody under the age of consent should be allowed to make an account on social media.
I agree with them.
Just for example.
But people are going to bypass it anyway, but, you know.
Multi-billion-dollar infrastructure.
Should be able to report them easily.
Nothing like it on the pro-democracy side. We don't have when a man is just lost and lonely and not yet radicalized.
I love how they're talking about how they don't have a media system.
They literally control media damn near in its entirety until very recently.
On TV.
They completely control it.
How do you say this? How do you do this? It's amazing.
Exactly. It's
we
a good
don't
question.
have
How
the equivalent of Joe
this?
Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction. By the way, we should educate men.
Well, the reason why is because men reject those people.
Yeah.
There are those people out there.
They reject them.
Absolutely, they're out there. It's just that people don't want to hear that message because they don't think that that message is accurate. It's very simple.
That it's actually really great to live with a strong woman who
I'm fucking with the last part of this video, man. He's hitting the nail on the head.
It's just sad, man. It really is. Joe Rogan was a Democrat? Yeah, I guess so. And Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan used to be liberals?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's probably true to an extent. And well, actually, it's not true to an extent. It literally is true.
Yeah.
It was true. It is true.
They've
I find it
villainized
to
them.
be incredibly fucking hilarious that you have people that are on a nationally syndicated television show that has a 100-year nearly hegemony in like
we don't have power
in like news and politics that are complaining that they don't have a voice. You're not complaining that you don't have a voice. You're complaining that nobody wants to hear what you're saying.
Yep.
That's the real reason why you're mad.
Good video, Asmongold. Again, I want to make something very clear. I'm not gonna say any more on these points. I think I already beat them to death. I fucking love Asmongold. I don't hate him for any opinion I disagreed with him on. I take the victim and like what's happening with Trump to be very serious because you're not seeing the same kind of attack from the Republicans. Sure, Republicans call people names, be like, shut up, you commie, whatever. But again, there's a lot of attempts on his life. They continue the same rhetoric and calling people Nazis and fascists. That is very much so a fucking liberal thing. Like for the vast majority of Trump's existence. But outside of that, I love Asmongold, man. I think he makes very solid content. I love it. Like, I watch him every day. So don't take any of this as, oh, Asmongold is a terrible It really doesn't matter that much. He doesn't vote. I was just disappointed because his community could have learned something. But still, fantastic video. Check it out, and peace.